Well, good morning. It's a Wednesday. I'm just going to pop through the office, show my face sort of thing, say hello, and then we'll get on to what we're going to do today. Good morning, Mrs. Monica.
Morning.
Busy?
Yeah.
Mrs. Marie?
Morning, Al.
I see you fixed your computer.
Kind of.
Still playing with it. Okay then, we've got a right turd of a job to do today. I guess somebody's got to talk about it, so it may as well be me. Right, really simple, straightforward job to do today, no messing around. This is a rear wheel bearing for a Toyota Yaris. Let's fit it. So yeah, Toyota Yaris, rear wheel bearing. Ah, what can be easier? Oh my God, it would appear the wheel bearings jumped out of the box and fitted itself all by itself. So that's how easy the job is. It will do itself. Anyway, being serious now, here's the problem. A number of times now, I've had a Toyota Yaris in here to have a rear wheel bearing replaced. They seem to be a common thing for getting knocked out. Every single time I need to change a rear wheel bearing on a Yaris, it's not the fact that it's only 4 bolts and the hub is supposed to come off. It's the fact that once you've undone them 4 bolts, the hub does not come off. It is literally seized bloody solid into the axle. You can't get the hub out of the axle. I tried looking on YouTube because I had a bit of spare time. I thought I'd watch some other videos of how, if anybody else out there has put a video out showing a good way of getting them off. Funnily enough, the 2 videos I did watch, they might as well have just fallen out of the axle in the bloke's bloody hand. Flipping heck, I can't believe that for 1 minute. Everyone I know who's done these bloody Yaris bearings, they struggle like hell. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to get the goddamn wheel bearing off one of these Yarises the easy way. Right, before we get going, let's have a quick look at this wheel bearing. It's a straightforward wheel bearing hub unit with a flange, comes with the wheel studs. Most Toyota Yarises will have ABS. There's your connector. It's all a sealed unit. There's 4 bolts to bolt it onto the axle. This little piece here, this bit goes into the axle, and this is where it seizes up. This is what the problem is, okay? So I'm going to show you how we get this unseized, how we get it out of the axle, because it's a big problem. And by the way, when you come to refitting one of these things, you'll notice that there's like a straight edge here, and if I turn this round the other way, there's a slightly domed edge. So this will only fit into the axle one way. Right, to save some messing around, I've already removed the 4 bolts that hold this hub unit on. There's no threads left in there. But I'm going to show you something here. These bolts that hold this hub unit on, now this car, bear in mind, is a 2003 model, okay? Literally the rust around this bolt head had ballooned, and I reckon this bolt was probably like a 14mm head to start with. It's now down to a 12mm head. I literally had to get this socket and smash this on as tight as I can get it with a hammer in order to undo it. And I was actually wondering whether these were just going to round off completely. They weren't that tight to actually undo, which was lucky. But flipping heck, they have really corroded away. So I'd bear that in mind. It might be worth getting a new set of bolts, and also these aftermarket wheel bearings you can buy, they don't seem to come with new bolts, so you may have to go to a main dealer to get these. If you buy a genuine bearing kit, I should think it probably would come with bolts. So the purpose of this video is really just to show you how to remove the bearing, because refitting it is quite simple. I mean, come on, fitting 4 bolts isn't exactly rocket science, is it? But getting it off might well be a bit of rocket science. Let me show you. I don't know why I'm showing this. I thought I would anyway. Now if you can imagine, a slide hammer is pretty handy sometimes, and you would think, well you would like to think that it would remove this since there's no bolts holding it on anymore. Shall we see? Okay, enough with the bullshit. Let's see if it's moved. Yeah, just as I thought. It hasn't even cracked the rust. Flipping heck, that is in there absolutely solid. You see, even at the back where the bolts go through, there's absolutely, yeah, that's absolutely solid in there. It hasn't even moved it, not even cracked the rust. So I'm going to take this slide hammer off, because it's obviously doing no good whatsoever. If you're thinking a pry bar is going to help you out here, nah, forget it. Okay then, you'll be needing one of these. So quite simply, I'm going to use some nuts and bolts. I've actually got two bolts which are different thicknesses, because I haven't got two the same. But anyway, you could even, if you've got a bit of threaded bar, you can cut it down to size and use some nuts on the end. So here's what you do. Put your bolt through the flange and put the nut behind the hole and screw your bolt into the nut. And then you want to screw that bolt all the way through until the bolt butts up against the back plate. You're not going to damage the back plate because the axle is sitting behind the back plate. So you've got a solid surface you're going to press on. And once that's finger tight, we're going to tighten that bolt, and it's going to push this hub, because we've got the nut there. As we tighten the bolt in, it's going to push this hub outwards. So we'll do the same with this stud hole. Thread our bolt into the nut and wind that bolt all the way in until it pushes up against the back plate. And now, holding that nut with a spanner, I'm going to start tightening this bolt. But you need to do both like evenly. So I'll do this one up a bit, get a bit of load on it. Now, we'll wind this one in. I'm not too sure about this one because it's a bit of a thinner thread, it might strip. I'll just have to cut my threaded bar down if that happens. But I'll give that a good... I can hear like the rust crunching as I put pressure on this. That is flipping tight now. Yeah! I'll put a bit more pressure on this side. I'll tell you what, that's got some goddamn load on it. Yeah! When you get so much load on this, it sometimes helps to try and shock it like this with your hammer. I don't know if you can see that in there, but the hub has come away from the back plate now by probably about a millimetre, but it's a start. So I shall carry on and put some more pressure on it. We'll have another little go on this side. Come on. Tell you, that's got some serious pressure on it. I'm running out of thread as well. I'm just going to give this another tap with the hammer. Yeah, that's definitely on its way out now. Look at the flipping gap we got there now. Friggin' yes! Nearly there. So we'll wind this side once again. And a bit more on this side. Whee! Did you hear that? Did you hear that crack? That was the sign of progress. I've run out of thread on this side, so I'm just going to do this, wind this other side in a bit, which seems quite free now, because it's actually coming out. Oh, hey, that's it. Woohoo, we're off. That just went. Woohoo, it's come off. Da da da. Them bolts have put some nice indentations into that back plate, but as you can see, the thickness of the axle behind this back plate, so there's no way you're going to actually break this plate, which is good. And now the thing to do is get some emery cloth and give that axle a real good clean up. Get all the rust and muck off it. Your new bearing, it wouldn't hurt to put a bit of grease on it around where that flange is, just in case, because these aftermarket bearings might not last that long and you might find yourself having to change this again. Remember I said earlier about you've got like a slightly domed edge up here and a flat one here, but the ABS sensor sits at the bottom. I'm just saying, because you can't get it in wrong anyway, because the bolts won't line up. But then, anyway, we'll bung that in there, line the holes up, bop, straight in, no problem. Anyway, refitting it's the easy bit. You just got to fit all them 4 bolts, preferably get brand new bolts to hold the hub on, and tighten them all up evenly, then reconnect your ABS sensor. Splendid. Now would probably be a good time to clean and adjust up your rear brakes as well. Bingo. If your car's a bit on the old side, you'll probably find there's a lot of rust comes off it, just like this one. Okay, I'll remove these bolts in a minute. But this one, actually, this other one on the passenger side, this was the worst one of the two. This is, it's actually like notchy, like dunk, dunk, dunk. You can hear that. That is, yeah. This car must have sounded like a bloody airplane taking off. The moral of this story, probably best get somebody else to do the job. Gee, I can just picture it now. Sunday afternoon, on your driveway. Ah, it's all right, honey. I'm just going to fix your rear wheel bearing. Half an hour later, you get yourself in a right mess, end up breaking something. Your wife comes out, keeps pestering you because she wants her car back. You end up losing your shit with your wife. All ends in a very messy divorce. Just saying. Right then. It's farewell to you, Mr. Hub. You're going to the junkyard in the sky. Bye-bye.